Ladies and gentlemen, you could have been anywhere in the world tonight, but you're here with us in New York City. Are you ready for a cabinet meeting? I'm George Washington, and introducing Thomas Jefferson and Alexander Hamilton. The issue on the table. Hamilton's plan to have the government assume states' debts. Establish a national bank. If Hamilton wins, we'll have a different financial system than if Jefferson wins. Secretary Jefferson, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We fought for these ideals, and we shouldn't settle for less. I mean, these are wise words, enterprising men club. And don't act surprised, you guys, come on. I wrote them.
Famous lines from the Jefferson penned Declaration of Independence, which was written to clearly and persuasively explain why the U.S. was at war with France for their freedom.
But Hamilton forgets. His plan would have the government assume the state's debts. Now place your bets as to who that benefits. Yes, the very seat of government where Hamilton sits.
Not true.
Hamilton contended that having the federal government assume states' debts would bind them together and empower the federal government.
Oh, if the shoe fits, wear it. If New York's in debt, why should Virginia bear it? Come on, man. Our debts are paid, I'm afraid. Don't tax the South, because we got it made in shade. In Virginia, we plant seeds in the ground. We create. You just want to move our money around. This financial plan is an outrageous demand, and it's too many dang pages for any man to understand. Stand with me in the land of the free, and pray to God we never see Hamilton's candidacy. Look, when the Britain taxed our free, we got frisky. When Britain taxed our tea, we got frisky. Imagine what's gonna happen when you try to tax our whiskey.
Ooh. Thank you, Secretary Jefferson. Secretary Hamilton, your response?
Thomas, that was a real nice declaration. Welcome to the present. We're running a real nation. Would you like to join us? Or stay mellow doing whatever the heck it is you do in Monticello?
Monticello is Jefferson's party home.
If we assume the debts, the Union gets a new line of credit, a financial diuretic. How do you not get it? If we're aggressive and competitive, the Union gets a boost. You'd rather give it a sedative? A civics lesson from a slaver. Hey neighbor, your debts are paid because you don't pay for labor. Well, we plant seeds in the South. We create. Keep ranting. We know who's really doing the planting. And another thing, Mr. Age of Enlightenment, don't lecture me about the war. You didn't fight in it.
Thomas Jefferson was governor of Virginia from the years 1779 to 1781, and thus didn't see any action during the Revolutionary War whatsoever. In fact, while Washington, Hamilton, and their French ally Lafayette were planning their advance on Yorktown, Jefferson was on the run from Cornwallis's cavalry, stealing away to his second plantation in Poplar Forest because he was too late to call for help from the Virginia militia.
Think I'm scared of you, man? We almost died in the trench while you were off getting high with the French. Thomas Jefferson always hesitant with the president, reticent. There isn't a plan he doesn't jettison. Man, you mad as a hatter, so take your medicine. Dang, you in worse shape than the national debt is in. Standing there, useless. Hey, turn around, bend over. I'll show you where my shoe fits.
Excuse me, Matt Jefferson, take a walk. Madison, take a walk. We'll reconvene after a brief recess. Hamilton,
Sorry,
a word?
you don't have the votes. Ha, ha, ha. You're gonna need congressional approval, and you don't have the votes. Honestly, such a blunder, Mr. President. Makes me wonder why I even bring the thunder.
You want to change that attitude?
I'm sorry, these Virginians are birds of a feather.
Young man, I'm from Virginia, so watch your mouth.
So we let Congress get held hostage by the South?
You need the votes.
No, we need bold strokes. We need this.
No, you need to convince more folks.
James Madison won't talk to me. That's a non-starter.
Winning was easy, young man. Governing's harder.
They're being intransigent.
You need to compromise.
They don't have a plan. They just hate mine.
Convince them otherwise.
And what happens if I don't get congressional approval?
I imagine they'll call for your removal.
Sir,
Figure it out, Alexander. That's an order from your commander. Who's ready to reconvene this cabinet meeting? The second issue on the table. France is on the verge of war with England. And do we provide aid to our French allies, or do we sit by and do nothing? Remember, my decision on this is not subject to congressional approval. The only person you have to convince here is me. Hamilton is accusing Jefferson of disagreeing with him, not because of any actual disagreement of ideas, but simply in opposition to Hamilton. Secretary Jefferson, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. When we were on death's door, well, we were needy. So we made a promise and we signed a treaty. We needed money, guns, and frankly, half a chance. And who provided all of that but France? In return, we didn't ask for land, only a promise that we would lend a hand and stand with them as they defended their brand. Now, revolution is messy, but now's the time to stand.
The treaty pledged to protect, or that the U.S. would defend the crown of France and His Most Christian Majesty. However, and Jefferson wants to support everyone who rebels against the French monarchy, and support the French theater, neither of which were necessarily covered by the original treaty.
And now I know that Alexander Hamilton is here, and maybe he'd rather not have this debate. But let me remind you, he's not Secretary of State. He knows nothing of loyalty. Come on. Smells like new money, dresses like fake royalty. He's desperate to rise above his station, and yet everything he does betrays the ideals of our nation?
Thank you, Secretary Jefferson. Jefferson's disses that imply that he is above Hamilton. However, they're both equal. Somebody's mad because,
A foreigner
despite his elitist views, a foreigner is his equal. That's the word. Secretary Hamilton, your response.
You must be out of your gosh dang mind if you think the president is gonna bring the nation to the brink of meddling in the middle of a military mess, a game of chess where France is queen and kingless. We signed a treaty. We did sign a treaty with a king whose head is now in a basket. Would you like to take it out and ask it? Should we honor our treaty, King Louis's head? Do whatever you want. I'm super dead.
Enough. Hamilton is right.
Mr. President.
We're too fragile to start another fight.
But do we not fight for freedom?
Sure, when the French figures out who's going to lead them. At this point in the French Revolution,
The people are leading.
the people are rioting. There's a difference, and frankly, it's disquieting that you would let your ideals blind you to reality.
Sir.
A word? No, not that one. What was the one? I forgot.
Draft a statement of neutrality.
Yes. Hamilton,
Sir.
draft a statement of neutrality.
Yes, sir.
Did you forget Lafayette?
What?
Have you an ounce of regret? You accumulate power, you accumulate debt, yet in their hour of need, you conveniently forget.
At this point in the French Revolution, things were getting hairy. It was very likely that Lafayette's head would, like the king's, soon end up in a basket.
Lafayette's a smart man. He'll be fine. Before he was your friend, he was mine. If we try to fight in every revolution in the world, we'll never stop. Where do we draw the line?
Ah, so quick-witted.
Last I admitted,
I bet you made a great lawyer.
my defendants got acquitted.
Well, there's something I gotta remind you.
What?
You are anything without the Washington behind you.
Hamilton.
Sir.
Oh, look, Daddy's calling.
Scene.